And Aggro, I'm going to jump right on board with that point. In the 4 games that the Kings played against the Titans in the Phase 2 playoffs, Netrioid got Rom in 0 of those games. He got Apollo in Game 1, 1-6. Got Chernobog in Game 2, 0-0-1. In the win, Hachiman, 3-0-8. And then in the loss, Hachiman, 2-3. So, point absolutely proven there. We'll see if Rom is then prioritized by one team or the other here. Support on the mine, though, in the first couple bans. Yamoja and Kepri will take a seat.
Rom has got to be in the mines. I mean, I think that's the number one formula right now to beat the Kings is that they have consistently drafted dual lane first and foremost at the top of their drafts. And it starts oftentimes with genetics on things like Kepri, but it's always Rom for Netrioid if it's open. You got to respect. It's a respect ban more than anything else. I think that you have to respect him enough to take it away from him.
I do chuckle, and you might have heard me chuckle, because the RDO ban is something that we've seen anyway. Yep. It really feels like genetics was just an extra level of obnoxious on this pick. It was something that the Titans had an answer to. Genetics got RDO in 3 of the 4 games that they played against the Titans, only won 1 of those games, but strong enough still. Aggro. It's one of those picks that, I don't know if you roll the dice on hopefully we can beat Variety on this pick this game.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I mean, you've got to give up something, right? Leviathans now, they have to worry about Variety's Hell or Netrioid's Rom.
Yep.
I mean, you've got a lot that's still on the table here for the Leviathans. Osiris, Gilgamesh, obviously. Erlong Shen was a big part of it.
Has Shinto played some Hell? I'm trying to remember.
He has. He's a big Hell player in his career. So will the Kings take it in the top end? Odin's still open as well. There's a lot that is left open by these double Guardian bans here for the Leviathans. And if you force the Kings to go Rom first pick, then you might be able to open up some pretty good stuff for yourself here. You could ban Hell, leave open Rom, assume they take it. You get Odin Osiris on the back end, or Odin Erlong on the back end. That feels pretty good. I think that you have to try and look for trading 2 for 1, and it's a matter of which one do you want to let through.
Yeah, it feels like, in this meta and the way that these bans have gone, there's a healthy possibility for the second-pick teams to leave some good value open for themselves. Tiamat also off the board, as well as the Raijin that we saw earlier. So that's kind of been the juggle, the 1-2 punch in the mid lane, Tiamat and Raijin, or Tiamat gets banned away, then it's Raijin. Some flexibility, I think, now we'll have to see out of the mid lane. Persephone is a conversation I do want to look at, because we saw Persephone a little bit right towards the end of Phase 2. Maybe something that we'll see in a matchup like this. I think that's something Shinto could be pretty good on. Izanami, though, Aggro, ends up being the ban. So a lot of these scenarios we talked about, still possible.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that it's Izanami. I don't think that Netrioid's shown me that that's a power pick for him yet. It is really good in the meta right now. I think that she's one of the best hunters in the game, but I think you got to make Netrioid show that to you before you're willing to ban it, because now the Kings, I'm looking at 4 power picks open at any time. So they pick Hell. So now if I'm the Leviathans, I'm probably going Odin Rom. Those would be my top 2 if I'm the Leviathans. Get that easy pick to make sure that the Odin cage is going to be there and keep Netrioid off this comfort pick for himself. But that leaves open Gilgamesh and Osiris and Erlong. The Kings kind of get their choice of what pressure jungler they want.
And depending on what the Kings pick in that pool, the Leviathans can then answer back with 1 if the Kings don't want both of those picks. It is Rom Odin for the Leviathans here. There is flexibility with the Hell. We've seen it in the solo lane a lot with Variety. Variety's looked good on that pick. Absolutely possible for big man Tings, who is quietly one of the best mid laners in the league, to play the Hell over in the mid lane. Osiris is what the Camelot Kings look towards, and then Giannis. So that clears things up a little bit. Hell in the solo lane, Osiris likely in the jungle, and then Giannis mid for BMT.
Yeah, that's an interesting place to take the Giannis, but it does give you an option to get out of Odin cages. You want something in the mid lane that has that option for sure. I think the Leviathans have come away with a really strong top 3, and the Kings have as well. I mean, the Kings have looked so strong with this Hell pick. But now if you're the Leviathans, you can just take away some picks from genetics that potentially scare you. Terra's a good one, though.
That's one.
Of course, Odin does shut down Terra pretty well, but you don't want to leave that up to chance. I think I'd probably ban Ymir with the next one here if I'm the Leviathans. And now the Kings are going to be down, 4 or 5 supports in the God pool, which has not been a problem for genetics this year. He's consistently done that pretty well.
Fafnir's still around.
Yeah, Fafnir's a pretty good one for him in this spot. but you still are able to take away the big impact team fight Guardians away from him, and I think that could give the Leviathans a slight edge.
Is Shinto going to take a 4th ban here from the Camelot Kings? That's the big question. Both teams still needing a support, we assume. Could be Odin support, I suppose, but haven't seen that one in a little while. Shinto effectively out of 3 picks here. Giannis, Raijin, Tiamat, and the Morgan Le Fay down the back end. Though Shinto definitely a player that gives me some confidence. And I believe I'm reading that correctly, a pass ban here.
That's what
for
it
the
says.
Camelot Kings. It's on the screen, so I'm going to say it. A pass ban for the Camelot Kings in their 5th spot.
That is what it says. Maybe they ran out of time, couldn't decide. I don't know, because I don't know what god you take next. I mean, the Morrigan, probably one of them. This was the pick that I was going to say, is I'm surprised that it isn't a Cerberus ban either, because you can either put this Odin support, let Cerberus go solo, let him match up against the Hell, or Rongyu's very good at this god. Let him take the Cerberus. We know Genetics can play it as well. So you take it out of his hands, and you get a pretty good matchup there up against the Hell. I like the Cerberus pick a lot.
I mean, admittedly, I've seen like what 2 pass bans in my couple of years of casting Smite now. Is there value in passing bans?
No, there is not.
Okay, I figured not. Right? There's no way. I mean, you click Zeus even, take Zeus off.
Mifflin is off screen right now, shaking his head. Yes, that he could probably make an argument that it's
can't hear you,
a
Miff,
mental game, a mental. You know, I don't respect you, so I'm gonna pass it. I don't buy it. No, that you should always make something.
Right. So there's no like in-game value outside of maybe playing mind games with your opponent, but the Leviathan's probably not all that phased, I guess. They're like, all right, I'll take the Cerberus anyway. Heimdall ends up being the pick here for Netrioid. We wondered what that pick would look like with Izanami and Rom both off the board. So Heimdall for the Camelot Kings will round out their draft.
No, that's about what I was expecting for this draft from the Leviathans. Odin on a solo would take a lot longer to get involved inside of these team fights. You want to be able to utilize that ring elsewhere on the map. I mean, you could say that Big Man Tings is going to be very safe against the Odin ring, but as long as Odin isn't literally bisecting a wall, I mean, you can't just drop the portal through the Ring of Spears itself, so Big Man Tings going to play carefully with his positioning once we see Rongu start rotating out.
Took the 2 small camps of the 3 Harpy camp at the top side, and then took both of the smalls right next to that one. Just taking a little bit of experience away from Panatom, and Captain Twig looked like he wanted to go for a gank here, and Panatom's going to say, all right, well, if you won't pull the trigger, maybe I will. Goes in, gets the pin, and gets the cleanse away from Variety, and getting under the tower will be enough safety for him. The Hell lives on for just another moment.
Unfortunate timing on that paralyzing spit. Probably wouldn't have forced the kill onto Variety as he still had the beads available, but had Yarkor held onto it for just a moment longer, could have at least removed that defensive relic. I like the pace so far from both of these teams. Bury them with a lead.
I think that then begs the question, you know, with a mid lane Hell, it's usually going to be a lot more damage, a lot more healing. But with the solo lane Hell, it's going to be a little bit more hybrid. How much of that anti-heal do you need to invest towards a solo lane Hell comparatively to a mid?
You're going to want similar amounts. I mean, Hell brings her value to the late game team fight, and by the time late game team fights roll around, doesn't really matter what role you're playing. Twig in some trouble here, going to be forced to use the blink defensively. Not the greatest look. There's a lot of emphasis from the Leviathans towards this short lane, and very little payoff.
Variety didn't go back. Panatom still sneaking around. His blink is back up. This could be a kill. The low amount of health. A taunt in with the 9 turns blessing. Gets the beads early. And a knock up from the turtle is going to give him after the cleanse. First blood goes to Panatom.
Hey, if it doesn't work the first time, the second time, or the third time, the fourth is always going to be the charm. Beads stripped away from Variety as well. This Hell is going to have to play very safe. Surprised to see Panatom not try and get aggressive here and strip away the blue buff. Maybe Yarkor being solo HP.
Solo lane where Hardcore just started slowly walking at Variety and making him question whether or not he wanted to back. And, well, maybe he should try and make a go back early. A level 5 Rongu is here. But Variety is full health, full mana, so he's not in too much danger just yet. Captain Twig rotating over, maybe the saving grace that he needs over near the Scorpion. Rongu going in, Genetics is here, Cage drops down, he's got 2 trapped inside, and the ultimate from the server is going to pick up 2, Variety and Twig low, but Variety doesn't have a leap to get away, and with 4 of the Leviathans here, Panatom, he gets swung away by Genetics, but Genetics is low, Genetics is down, pinned from Panatom, will grab him.
Look, we've got plenty of opportunities to see what a Hell is capable of doing, and the Leviathans have done their homework. A lot of gank attempts, and now Twig, you should have been farming those backs, buddy.
Taunted back in, and one more will do it. Hardcore gets the credit for this one, and 4 kills on the board early for the Leviathans. They keep pushing that gold lead, 1,800 now in their favor just 6 minutes in.
Use of that timer. Maybe Big Man Tings just continually tries to snipe steal these objectives, but as of right now, farm all the way across the map, favoring the Leviathans.
Captain Twig is here to try and deal with Harkora. Leap in place. Harkora only has his ultimate available to help him out here. He's going to get slowed to eternity by Twig. Goes for the turnaround ultimate, but there's no one there for him. Rongyu and Panatom rotate over. Cage is available if needed, but Captain Twig's got the ultimate. He'll get back to the tier 1 in safety.
Nice discipline from Rongyu to hold onto that Ring of
On a huge
Spears.
chunk of farm, and that's only going to be beneficial for Hardcore, making sure to get even further ahead and double down on this magical protection. Big Man Tings needs some protection of his own. Rongyu has the cage on him. He's down to a quarter health. Portal dropped down in the middle of it all. Ultimate from Genetics will catch 2. It's Panatom and Rongyu, but Panatom is nice and healthy. Snipe hits Shinto, but it's not enough to take him down. Captain Twig tries to walk away, but does that man have the snipes? He does. 2 is all it takes.
Leviathans, man, this aggression is stifling. The Camelot Kings try to dive deep into the Leviathans' backline near their own tier 1 tower to stop that cage from finding value on a Big Man Tings, and all that damage coming from Shinto nearly shuts down Tings. Only kind of controlling the soul lane. They don't have to worry too much about that rotation prowess of Big Man Tings, or even head over towards the Gold Fury, but instead, it's the Camelot Kings.
Gold Fury down to half. Rongyu and Shinto, the only ones in the area, and they can't get there. Genetics is playing the zone, and the ultimate will make sure that Rongyu leaps away. Gold Fury goes the way of the Kings. Variety is the one on the chopping block here for Leviathans. Taunted back in, the paralyzing spit and the ghastly breath are enough to take him down. Panatom with the last hit for it now on a killing spree with 3 kills. He's going the way of Leviathans. They'll have some vision towards that Fury Pit the next time that one spawns in.
Yeah, I mean, Big Man Tings doesn't really have many options to use that ultimate to rotate, though. Every lane behind, and maybe wishing that he was a little closer to the wall.
Cage dropped right in the center of the lane. Big Man Tings has nowhere to go. Taunted in beads and Aegis used, and there's the ultimate for the escape. Genetics throws his ult out and only catches Panatom in the midst of it. He's down to half, and it'll be a retreat from the Leviathans and a retreat from the mid laner of the Kings.
That was an expensive engagement for the Leviathans, costing them both the Ring of Spears and the 9 turns blessing in exchange for Genetics and Big Man Tings ult Pyro and vice versa, especially considering 4,000 gold deficit. The Camelot Kings probably not looking for a true 5-on-5 engagement right now, so consolation prizes don't feel too bad.
Looks like the Scorpion did end up getting stolen there by the Leviathan, so they keep that one off the King's side of the map for just a little while longer. Captain Twig may have been caught out here. The cage comes out, and that's going to be the immediate Phantom by Variety. Relic down on cooldown for the time. But Rongyu has a little bit of CDR in the build, also a fully upgraded Curse Donk as soon as he hit level 12, and can be ready for that next fight. But the Kings are the ones who want to start this one up. Panatom walking forward, taking a little bit of poke, but Captain Twig's also in danger. Sinjin Torment from Hardcore in the back finds 1. Genetics is in danger, but so is Panatom. Twig, junglers trade it out for it. Shinto gets the credit for 1, and BMT portals himself out.
Zatman up into the air, trying to put some more damage into Genetics. The shots will not land, but Yarkor will find himself landing in the back line. Variety being zoned out now, and the Leviathans shredding the Primal.
Genetics stunned at half health. Variety tries to keep him healed up, and he'll walk forward against everybody, but he gets caught inside the Blizzard. Takes a lot of damage from the spit. Through the portal goes 1. Hardcore leaps over it, and Shinto throws out the Eclipse to grab it, but a snipe from Big Man Tings will take out Zatman. Now it's just BMT and Genetics the only ones here, but now Netroid coming back in, has that Bifrost, gets him back to full health. Genetics low, Hardcore knocked up, Rongyu in danger, but Shinto is the one who's got to watch where he's stepping.
Shinto is forced to step back, but steps back to the rest of his team. Rongyu and Yarkor now on the trace. Genetics credit for the kill for Shinto, but Netroid in some trouble and back to the Shadow Realm.
It's another Hunter-Hunter trade for it. Big Man Tings misses out on the unstable vortex. A blink from Rongyu gets him out, and the bloodbath around the Fury leads to no objective but kills across the board.
Able to stop the aggression from the Leviathans. Leviathans coming into that team fight with about a 4,000 gold lead has now been cut closer to 3,000. They try and aggress on the Primal, and they don't get it. BMT, though, well, he might get it from Panatom. Getting put down here. Portal finally gets the mana to get through that wall, but maybe Panatom has Twig on his back.
The stun from the tether will be here momentarily. Twig gets it, throws 1 more sickle under the tower. Variety and Genetics rotating over means that Panatom cannot go any further forward. Rongyu leaps in, but he won't get anything for a BMT losing out on both of his relics in that engagement. Beads and Aegis down just from Panatom alone.
Yeah, let's do a little relic roundup here. How many beads available to the Kings? It's just Netroid. He's the only one with beads available. 30 seconds left on Variety and Captain Twig. On the other side, both defensive relics still available to Shinto. That feels pretty good, and Aegis still up for Zapman as well. I think the Leviathans are hugely favored here.
Especially with this Fury up. He keeps getting leashed by the Kings. Hardcore immediately towards the back line, uses the breath, and Genetics is caught in the middle of all 5. Nowhere to go, and burned down. Zapman gets one. Triple cage, triple torment from the solo laner. Captain Twig's down. Variety is gone. Hardcore picks him up, and that's 3 gone from the Kings.
The Kings stepping a little too far forward without any of that defensive relics available. Still, the Leviathans crushed them on the engagement. Triple cage feels pretty good. Triple Stygian torment on the tail end of it. That feels good as well. The Leviathans now, well, they weren't quite able to do the gold for you last time, but they take the team fight and the primal in one broad stroke. Camelot Kings, they've got to hope for some pretty dire mistakes here from the Leviathans. They want to win out in this next team fight.
Not just 6th item, full levels as well. 20 for Hardcore, 20 for Panatom. Meanwhile, it's only level 18 for their counterparts of the Kings. Still haven't hit that threshold just yet. The Fire Giant started up. Genetics and Variety will walk forward, but Hardcore is waiting like a serpent in the night, trying to grab anybody he can, and it might be Captain Twig, already down to half health. A leap in from Rongyu. Cage finds Variety, is the only one stuck inside. The wall will fall down, but so will Captain Twig. Genetics diving into the backline, finds 2 with the ultimate. Stygian Torment only finds 1, and Variety grabs 1. Big man Tings with the portal health will take down another one. Now it's the Leviathans on the run. The Camelot Kings have advantage, but Variety steps too far forward. He is taken down.
Netroid tries to step up and put down Zapman, but maybe only does enough to force Big Man Tings into a bad position. Genetics now on the retreat. He is the sole remaining member of the Camelot Kings. Tough start for the boys on the Order side. Leviathans pick up the deicide, do a double kill for Shinto. That's tough, man. That is all damage from the Camelot Kings coming from Netroid. That oboe stripping through the entirety of the Leviathans makes it look like that fight is going better than it was. And then immediately the Leviathans say, oh, you're stepping up to me? You're going to walk up close to me, turn on their heel 180 degrees, and shut down that fight. Fire Giant now on 4 members.
Wade and Leviathans start their group up towards this left side. They send 3 left and 2 mid, Panatom and Hardcore, but Panatom kind of going back and forth between and deciding which side of the map he wants to throw his commitment towards. It looks like it will be the left side to try and strip away the farthest Phoenix from that Fire Giant.
Yarkor doing his best to split up the engagement. Twig now trying to take that 1v1 Variety. Holds on to the Phantom. Rongyu does not have the follow-up he needs to force off that relic. That's huge. Legitimately now, no cage available for another minute or so, and once it is up, it's just going to get Phantom.
Rongyu gets a stun with 1. Genetics down to half, and Variety misses the heal, but the Phoenix is the one in even more danger. It gets well under half health from Big Man Tings from downtown, takes down Panatom, and that might be the call the Camelot Kings need to surge forward.
Unfortunately for the Kings, Panatom already didn't have Fire Giant, so maybe the lowest priority target for the Kings to pick up, but still just enough to stop the Leviathans from continuing this push is what I'd like to say. But the Leviathans kind of hovering inside of the jungle indicates to me that they might be trying to set up an ambush here. The Camelot Kings step far forward, but it's still a 5 versus 4 despite this gold deficit.
There is 4 with Fire Giant. Genetics gets stunned and eats a nice little chunk of damage, and healing from Variety will try and keep him topped back up, but with all that anti-heal from the Leviathans, it's going to be a slow heal back for the time. They'll have to wait till it falls off. Primal Fury started up by the Kings. Leviathans aren't going to let it go for free with no Phantom this time. Or actually, it is available for him. Variety able to walk himself out. Genetics and Captain Twig picked up by the Stygian Torment. And an ultimate from Genetics will throw him through. Captain Twig is low. Will he be able to make it out? The stun doesn't connect with him. Genetics and Twig both low. Genetics able to get the leap away. It's a full retreat from the Camelot Kings.
Yarkor finds the breath, and it is ghastly. The slow is good, the stun is good, and Genetics no longer good. Welcome to the coffin.
Shinto grabs 1. Twig able to blink away, and it's Big Man Ting separating himself from the rest. He'll try and make his retreat back towards the base, but Panatom is here. He may have just caught out Captain Twig. Gets knocked out by the turtle. Panatom finds the pick.
GG question mark? 2 dead for just over half a minute. Mid Phoenix stripped away quickly. The Leviathans, they're going for it.
Looking for the surge forward. Variety here for the defense with Netroid and Twig. It's 5 versus 3. Shinto low and being dealt with by Variety. Titan not taking a whole lot of damage. Captain Twig almost gets Panatom out, but Zapman finds Captain Twig. Variety tries to hold him, but the cage is back. Variety surely to fall down in the midst of everybody. Wrong U gets one. The Titan goes the way of the Leviathans, as well as game number one.
Pressure on that solo lane side of the map. Some pushback from the Kings, but really kind of snowballed on this side.
Man, what a fun game to watch. The Leviathans definitely came out with the game plan of we are not letting Variety get through the laning phase for free. And Panatom was a frequent flyer to the right-hand side of the map. And I was asking for this Odin to go to solo lane because I didn't think it was as impactful out of support, but Rongu certainly making it look awfully impactful. He had a great game on this Odin, consistently nice and patient with his choices, always found the good options. And Zapman and Shinto were just untouchable in this backline. And that was the concern for the Leviathans, that they did not have great dive in this game. Hell is not a diver. Xing Chen is not a very effective diver. Giannis is really the only one there. That's why I was saying I thought that there was a lot of pressure on Big Man to hard carry this game, because the one defense that they had on left side Phoenix was because Big Man sniped Panatom. And that's all it really took. Otherwise, it was just too easy for Shinto and Zap, who only had 2 deaths between them,
wow.
to just sit in the back and
11
slam
kills.
damage throughout this entire game, and they did exactly that.
6-1-9 for Shinto, 5-1-7 for Zapman, 11 combined kills, and then 2 deaths for both of the carries. Top damage in the game for Shinto. And again, this is a last pick Merlin, where you lose, and you know, it's kind of user error, as I like to say. You don't have to change up all that much. This is an opportunity for the Kings to adapt, and I think that's a good way of looking at it. Still in that first pick slot, and it was fun. It was a game of chess. You know, sometimes in picks and bans, you know, one team has a clear set roster that they want, the other team does as well. They both get what they want. Felt like there was a lot of back and forth strategy in picks and bans for game one.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's continued emphasis on Shinto here, because again, you invest 3 bans and a pick. I mean, the pick, of course, you're getting for BMT, so not against Shinto necessarily. But then you pass ban on your last ban. I mean, are you banning 4 gods against Shinto? You know, I mean,
Probably.
That's a heavy investment.
Yeah, you probably are, because that's what he demands. He's that good of a player. It's what Paul's been dealing with his whole SPL career, is dealing with these triple, quadruple, quintuple bans coming his way. Shinto's that same style of carry out of the mid lane, and I think that he necessitates it in a way. But already we've got a change in Raijin being open here for the Kings, and they ban that Odin, which is as expected. But now you've got a position where the Leviathans, this actually makes their picks and bans potentially a little bit harder, I think, and it does require a change. So yeah, instead of banning Izanami, they ban Rom, because now you just can't go, you know, you can't really go Tiamat or Rom plus Raijin, get your backline locked in, but then you're a little bit anemic on the front line, and I think that's so important for how they want to play. I think that this adjustment makes a lot of sense to me. Let them take the hell. They're going to. We know it. I think in this spot, I'd go Raijin Cerberus. Make sure that we have that matchup in the solo lane for Yarkor yet again. Lock in that pick for Shinto, or Izanami here if you want to. But this makes the most sense to me. Now you force Netrui to show us an Izanami, which we haven't really seen. And if he doesn't take it, then we can take it before the second ban phase. Or we can just pick Erlong Osiris again for Panatom, whatever Twig doesn't take.
And the Leviathans this time, you know, the big pivot, you call it Cerberus Raijin. You know, we talked about how the Kings put all this ban pressure onto Shinto. The Leviathans didn't really care. They let that pick fall down to the bottom. They knew Shinto was going to get something that he was good on. I think that is a vote of confidence that you're like, all right, look, 3 bans already there, a pick's already there. Who cares? You know, he's going to find something that he can play well. This time, though, when Raijin is there, that's that A to S tier level mid laner, so these pros seem to think, as referenced by priority and picks and bans. You got to take the Raijin here. And so the Leviathans do. Kings then with a bit of a change. Terra was taken away from genetics. They're going to prioritize that a bit earlier on in the draft. And then Erlong Shen for Captain Twig for some setup. And then a Sorket to round out the top 3 for the Leviathans.
Love it, because there's healing on all 3 members of the Kings over there. You get a Sorket, eliminate healing from at least one of them at a time. Make sure that this is now a flex pick. Panatom can play it, but it's been going to Rongu more often than not recently for the Leviathans. So now you've got some flexibility in your draft. If the Kings decide to spend the next 2 bans on Panatom, you know, they ban Gilgamesh Osiris, and Panatom doesn't have anything he really likes, you can just pick for Zap, let Panatom see the whole draft, and then decide if he wants a Sorket or if Rongu can play it. and then you end up in a position where you still have some good priority picks.
That's right. This is totally not related to this game at all, but when we saw Serket locked in for the bolts yesterday, I'm for sure that that's going to last for. But then awesome Jake plays that pick super well. The Serket support, definitely something that we've seen over the last couple of days and in this meta so far here in Season 8 could continue. Giannis taken away from Big Man Tings. The ball was in his court, as we've talked about in Game 1. And stepped up to the plate pretty well a couple of times.
He had a good game.
And spaces were big. The fights that almost turned around, there was a lot of big damage coming out of Big Man Tings. And so it's probably smart here, Aggro, from the Leviathans. You take away that playmaking mid laner. I mean, still plenty of options for Big Man Tings, but one of the playmaking mid laners. Merlin, also something that BMT is pretty comfortable on. Seems like the reasonable direction to go here as far as limiting what the Kings can get.
Yeah, I like what the bans have been for the Leviathans. Make sure the big man's off some of those more impactful mid laners. The Kings actually split their bans. They go one at Panatom, one at Zapman, and they leave the Izanami open. And Izanami can struggle at times up against Erlang Shen. Not having that CC immunity is a big deal. Having an Artemis there would have been nice for Zap. But because you don't double ban him, because you don't ban both Izanami and Artemis, he's still able to get a good pick. Now, he could have also gone Heim,
right.
So you've got options for Zap. So maybe it does make some sense to not go double ban onto him, but it does leave him one of the best ADCs right now.
This feels like early Season 8 Camelot Kings style of draft that we got here. Remember, it was Captain Twig on Erlang Shen plus big confirmable burst damage from BMT out of the mid lane. And you got Terra there as well, so the damage just going to be increasing. And then Hachiman to finalize the draft here for NetDruid. Remember, a couple of games in the Phase 2 playoffs on Hachiman. One good, one not so good, or one okay, and one less good. Not one of his top picks, but still a pick that he has that potential on. I do want to talk about the draft as a whole, though, from the Camelot Kings here, Aggro, because it seems straightforward. This is what Kings have found success on in the past.
Wasn't really a factor until it was too late for the Camelot Kings. And I'm not certain that Susano brings that same level of kill pressure to Hell. So if it is going to be a shift in attention and Panatom is going to be putting a lot more emphasis on mid, we'll see what Variety is able to do with that kind of space. And speaking of Variety and his team, the Camelot Kings just have an annoying draft, man. What a nerdy, annoying draft that the Camelot Kings have got here between the healing of Hell, the win condition that is Erlang Fury from Terra, the easy CC lockdown of Captain Twig's Erlang Shen to set up for this Kukulkan out of mid, and Netroid playing one of the safest hunters in the game. Kukulkan doesn't really have great options to deal with that either. A bunch of these warrior just engaged junglers really do victimize that mid laner.
Link in and a pull from Panatom. Variety in danger. The ghastly breath and one more basic. Repeat of game number 1. This time just a little bit earlier and only took one try for him. But Panatom puts the Leviathans on the board. All of them going to be a little bit in danger here between Panatom and Rongyu. Oracle Harpies will go the way of Camelot Kings. Captain Twig is rotate over to take those down. We start off with an early 400 gold lead. All of that from the first blood against Variety earlier on. Maybe a second blood. Panatom goes in. The heal is good. Typhoon is up. The damage not quite enough. A big heal from Variety, but not going to be enough health as Panatom puts him down one more time. Puts his second on the board.
So here's the thing, Variety. Hell is immobile, and the Leviathans know you want to play it, so they're going to keep doing this. Panatom
on the board for Leviathans, and majority of that just comes from that first blood bounty that went their way. And ever since then, it's just kind of stagnated as far as the gold goes. Even Variety hitting level 9 before hardcore. Now that could just be the wave to wave forward. Big Man Tings lose down the ultimate, gets pulled back in. The Typhoon and Taiko drums take him down. Shinto on the board. Captain Twig diving in aggressively forward. He gets hit by the Raiju. Pin is good, but not going to be enough to save his life for it. Panatom falls down with rotation from Netroid.
Yeah, nice little ultimate from Netroid to make sure that kill goes their way. I thought it might have been a misplay for Twig to step up, but he knew that his team was right behind him.
Wrong maneuver as he sits inside the mid lane, stealth, and seeing if anybody walks a little too far forward. Genetics spots him out. It'll be a leap under the tower for Rongyu. He'll grab Big Man Tings. The Taiko drums not going to do enough damage for it, but the Raiju may be enough. One more tick will do it. Shinto finds the kill under the tower. Fade away for him. And another one on the board for Leviathans.
Bro, I hate Rongyu, man. I gotta hate you for that one. You are
How long
so
did he
mean.
sit there?
Too long. I mean, the Genetics essentially pulls the trigger on the gun just by showing Rongyu on the map. It has not been huge, But now we're starting to reach the point where these death timers are getting a little bit longer, and any pick is going to mean more.
Panatom stunned out, and with 3 here, there's nowhere for the lone assassin to go. The Camelot Kings are able to punch back and pick up a kill for themselves and try and keep Big Man Tings in this. He was down about a level and a half here to Shinto, but with that rotation over, making sure to keep Panatom away, gives him a little bit of safety. Variety is thrown under the tower. Healing is good to keep him alive, and he's already down to half health, and Hardcore is more than willing to continue this boxing matchup against him, but not going to have enough damage to take out the mage.
Variety holds on to the beads, realizes that there's not a whole lot of kill potential, knows that if he does use the beads, his life is likely forfeit. Playing a little bit of fire here, though. Surprised he's willing to stay so close to Yarkor, maybe just trying to distract him so the rest of the boys can look at the Pyromancer, and the Pyromancer will go down. Camelot Kings credit for the neutral
now
objective.
Panatom hitting that 12. He's got access to beads. Rongyu is going to play the classic Rongyu style. We get a nice first-person perspective from him as he's just staring at Genetics and Big Man Tings. I'm sure both of them have to know that he's there. They don't want to walk too far forward. Panatom loses his beads in a trade with Captain Twig, but that's an ultimate burn by the jungler.
Variety caught out in mid. Rongyu holds on to all of his CC. Cleanse no good. Panatom's in.
Variety goes in with the ultimate. Not going to get the throwback as the beads are used by the solo laner. Shinto goes in. Hardcore has found his way to the mid lane, but all 5 of the Kings have already found their way back towards the Tier 1 tower. A swift retreat by the Kings.
Both relics used by Variety and Captain Twig, so both people got to play very safe going forward. Zapman not quite on the mark with the Dark Portal, has to take this 1v1 the old-fashioned way, and it's one that he loves. He is slamming Twig.
Captain Twig taunts it back. The cleanse is good to keep him alive. The Serpent 9 wins, just clean through 3 of them, taking down almost one of them with the Rongyu is out, but Hardcore picks up 1, and Variety's surging forward. Shinto in a little bit of danger for it, but Variety should be the one who's checking the damage on the rest of the team as he's getting breathed down by Hardcore. A leap in. Shinto finds 1. Genetics on the retreat. Hardcore now in danger. He's got to walk away.
Man, Big Man Tings. It's not often you hit, was that a 4-man or a 3-man ultimate? Yeah, you hit 4, and it just doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how well you're playing when you're this far behind inside of the positioning. Leviathans rout the Camelot Kings, and maybe, thanks to the efforts of Zapman, able to win that team fight cleanly and pick up the Gold Fury on the tail end of it. Crazy team fight.
We get to see that from his perspective here. Big Man Tings had a huge ultimate for, and honestly, just huge. I want to say just misplay where everybody was standing for. A great capitalization. Here he just launches off that ultimate. Hits 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 with it. Zapman almost got tailed by that, but a huge just no setup required.
Continually find aggression inside of the jungle. The Camelot Kings, Big Man Tings rather, just plays it properly. Just finds a great ultimate and unfortunately is not rewarded.
Rongyu stunned out. Taunts in and an ultimate. Shinto goes up into his Psycho Drums looking for Captain Twig, and he'll find him, but Shinto's on the run. Aegis expended, but no from Rongyu. May have just saved his life. Variety in danger. Gets turned on and taken down. Panatom with the credit for the kill. Netroid dashes in aggressively towards Rongyu, but he won't be able to get enough for it. Hardcore drops him right in place from the ultimate. The Aegis and the beads are still down for Netroid, and that will mean the end of his life as Hardcore walks up behind him and eats him for breakfast.
Man, Shinto's relic usage is just nuts, and Yarkor equally nuts, getting aggressive yet again, trying to shut down Genetics, who walks away, or limps away rather, with 1/10 HP. The Leviathans win yet another team fight. I mean, at this kind of deficit, stepping up to the Primal Fury is such a massive risk. I think I'd prefer them, if they are going to take a similar risk, I'd say this is the same level of risk. Might as well go for the higher reward.
Hardcore is here, and Captain Twig is low. He's not going to get any healing back from that 9 turns blessing. Uses the turtle form to try and get away, but the Taiko drums are too much damage. Captain Twig falls. Hardcore low. Ultimate rips through the back, and Big Man Tings finds 1, but Netroid is already at half health. Zapman finds 1. Netroid low. Panatom grabs him, and Variety thunder crashed him by Shinto, who's trying to take out both the mages still standing on the map.
Good jukes from Variety to avoid the Raiju, but keeps him around a little too long. Zapman, credit for his second inside of the team fight as he puts Variety down, and only 1 member of the Camelot Kings still alive. Big Man Tings, with no ultimate available, has no chance at stealing this Fire Giant. That should go the way of the Leviathans easily. That's a fair price to pay as well. Yarkor for Fire Giant and 4 members? Yeah, I'll take that any day of the week. Good deal.
That's a huge win for him. They take 4. They take Fire Giant. Not going to be enhanced just yet. It's only 26 minutes in.
As long as he's playing intelligently and utilizes that ultimate from Surket to stop the healing from Erlang's ultimate. tough break for the Camelot Kings, who are only going to fall further behind before they're given the opportunity to take another 5-on-5 team fight. Invisible. Instead, it's aggression. He has to step up into a Phoenix. So maybe one silver lining here for the Camelot Kings. Obviously, being a little bit of glib, there probably isn't a silver lining here for the Camelot Kings. This is a pretty dominant position the Leviathans find themselves in as they push in both mid and right Phoenix.
Rongu goes in, finds variety, and finds a little bit of damage as well between the Phoenix and Big Man Tings, able to chunk about a quarter of his health out. And with no minions available to him, the Leviathans have to wait just a little bit longer before they attempt to siege inside this right lane. But Shinto and Panatom, they've rotated over left to try and get a little bit of minion pressure there, and that's going to force Captain Twig to rotate to try and answer the call.
I wonder how close Netroid is to finishing off that dominance. That would be a massive power spike for him now, but maybe one we won't get to see. This push is starting to work out.
Captain Twig just got bursted by only the damage from Panatom there. Shinto is focused on genetics. The Phoenix is doing just fine for the time, but forces variety to make a rotation over, and now they split up as a 3v2 opposite of each other, with genetics popping back and forth between them, throws out the heal, make sure to keep himself alive and healthy. Phoenix haven't been taking too much damage. Variety and Captain Twig, they're getting a damage check here by Shinto and Panatom.
That Draugur's doing work.
Hardcore even jumps in. He's got the bread. Captain Twig is low. He gets picked right back up by the Stygian Torment. Ultimate from the mid laner rips through, only hits Rongu, and he'll be more than happy taking that trade. Even Genetics diving in. Netroid with an ultimate of his own. Members of the Leviathans getting low. Big Man Tings has to slither himself away, and the Dark Portal hits Netroid. That's enough zone for the Leviathans to take mid-Phoenix.
Maybe it's going to be a chase here. Captain Twig and Genetics seem like they are hunting for heads. The Leviathan's pretty low HP at this point. If Genetics can connect a stun, that could spell at least one death here. Zapman forced to use the beads, but I think that's all the Kings are going to be able to get. Maybe a Tier 1 tower as the Leviathans reset, but Tier 1s don't really matter that much. This gold lead is, it's dumb. It's a dumb amount of gold they're in the lead.
14,000 gold will be mitigated just a little bit here, down to just under 14,000 now.
Dive. Now Netroid is a legitimate threat to the front line of the Leviathans, so I think it's all him for the team fight as far as the Camelot Kings are concerned.
Rongu dives in the back but doesn't find anybody, doesn't even find a single relic out of all of it. So that'll be a blink down for the support. But the Leviathans are looking to pincer. Panatom on the way, Hardcore and Rongu both leaping in. Panatom with the blink, finds Big Man Tings, finds the ultimate away from him as well, and that is a big chunk of damage away from the Kings.
Captain Twig has 3 isolated inside of the jungle, has the ultimate available as well, but no other Kings are in range to follow up.
It's all going to come down to which team decides to step forward just a little bit too soon, who's going to capitalize off of it. And you can see Rongu is waiting for his opportunity to grab one of those carries.
Man, the Kings are getting dangerously close to triggering the Zapman passive, or maybe triggering the trap card. Variety. Take it out, bud. You are not able to stand there.
Rongu finds Genetics with the ultimate, but that's all he's going to grab out of it. Genetics will be able to walk away. He's got the monolith down, so he won't be picked up by Hardcore, but Shinto and Panatom don't care. They're going to go right in. Typhoon hits Big Man Tings. Genetics gets stunned. Hardcore doesn't find anybody with the Stygian Torment. Leviathan back away. They tried to, but Captain Twig comes through with an ultimate. Spear of the 9 wins, clips Hardcore, but Genetics is caught inside the damage from the Leviathans. That's now 2 down for it. And Netroid trying to run, but Captain Twig, he's already locked down on his ultimate. He's down his relics, but he's back to the safety of the Phoenix.
Well, maybe not the safety. All of the Leviathans are already inside of that Phoenix, and the Phoenix is falling down. Quickly goes the way of the Leviathans. Mid-Phoenix under threat of these fire minions, and soon the Leviathans as well. Only 3 members of the Camelot Kings still drawing breath at this point. So, can they stop this push from the Leviathans? Shinto headed back. Zapman headed back. They've got bigger fish to fry. You could keep your mid-Phoenix.
That the Leviathans can output. And Variety, he just got caught out. I mean, it was an immediate response. Panatom says, hey, there's just a hell over here by himself. Shinto, why don't you come on over? Rongu, he's going to look for Variety as well, but that's beads available to him, so he'll make his way out. Typhoon only rips through Netroid, but that's half of his health gone.
Shinto does use the Taiko drums, was not in range to follow up. That's a lot of team fight lost for the Leviathans. It's just Stygian Torment. It's just Rongu standing between the Kings and the Fire.
He's at half health, and so is the Fire Giant. The Kings surge forward. The Fire Giant is finally released. Hardcore, the only one with an ultimate available for the Leviathans, and he'll back away. He's starting to take quite a bit of damage from this mid laner. He's under under 3/4 health now. It's retreat from Leviathans, but the Camelot Kings, they're not done running. They're looking to run forward.
And maybe find Zapman inside of jungle. Root's no good, but the stun still available. Lethal Way is not going to be stopped by Genetic. Zapman able to sneak on out of this one, but the Camelot Kings, if you step too far up,
Hardcore finds one. Genetics, the only one pulled in by the Twig, is looking for Zapman. It's going to collapse back on Captain Twig. He's falling low. Use the tornado with safety, but Panatom dives in looking for him. It's going to be an out for Captain Twig for the time. Pin doesn't connect. Genetics now trying to play the bodyguard for him, but Genetics will not make his way out. Panatom seals the deal.
Big Man Tings connects a huge ultimate in the backline. Zap can no longer stick around inside of this engagement, so instead of going for the continued chase or even potentially the end, the Leviathans are going to have to settle with the air quotes consolation prize inside of the enhanced fire giant. Camelot Kings will not give it over freely.
Ults are back online, but Hardcore is low, and so is Netroid. He falls down, but Variety gets one in the process of it. Shinto finds a double kill, and Big Man Tings may not be able to make it out too much longer with his health bar. Panatom collapses on the mid laner, pulls him back in with the Wind Siphon, and Wrong Yu surging forward. Shinto finds the triple.
Shinto credit for the triple, and Captain Twig buckling up here, has to tie on his cape. Best of luck against the 4 of the Leviathans.
Leviathans pushing towards the throne room, waiting for those fire minions, or could just be looking for one more kill against Captain Twig if he steps too far forward, but that Titan is eating way too much damage. Twig tries to go for the hero play,
can't help
but there's no hero available for the Camelot Kings. They fall down, and Leviathans take the set 2-0.
All I know is that it was another game where Zap and Shinto weren't under a lot of pressure. And I think that this style is not the way that you can afford to beat this team. Look at the way the Titans beat this Leviathans team at the Phase 2 playoffs. They've got Benji always on a diver.
Yep.
You've got Layers on a diving character, and you've got Aurora who's willing to dive pretty well. You have to trust your backline to handle the initiations, and then be able to take care of this back line of the Leviathans, because if not, they'll eat you alive.
And this Shinto, the Raijin priority for Shinto just worked out so well. Not convinced that he died this game, if I'm remembering correctly. Ended like 10-0 or something ridiculous like that.
Right, who's supposed to kill him? It's supposed to be a Kukulkan ultimate for max range?
And we saw similar things from Big Man Tings, right? A couple of the ultimates had big impact.
Yep.
And then the fight just kind of fizzles out from that point on. You know, a good set, I think, all things considered.
Yep. For
Big Man Tings, but the game script was not really in the Kings' favor here. So 1-3-2 for BMT. Yeah, 10-0-5 for Shinto. Zapman also undying, almost as if there was no dive or something like that there. Aggro on the front line, the divers for the Leviathans, the only ones that took a couple of deaths here in this one. This is clearly a rejuvenated Leviathans team. They took some downtime, gotten their feet back underneath themselves, cleared up their game plans, and the Kings just really weren't ready for it today. Bounce back chance.
What are you doing here? This is for me. He's got nothing else better to do. He might as well be in position.
Well, the Leviathans in great position after their first win here in Phase 3. Camelot Kings fall 0-2. This next matchup here, Aggro, Oni Warriors versus Tartarus Titans. First of 2 matchups the Titans have this weekend. Titans versus Scarabs, our second matchup tomorrow in studio, by the way. You don't want to miss that one. It feels like this matchup truly could go one way or another. If we get the Oni Warriors of yesterday, could be going 3. Oni Warriors could be winning, and it's hard to think that I'm saying that about the Phase 2 champions. But if the Oni Warriors stumble into their old selves, could be a quick one.
Look, I mean, the Titans... Gore told me this morning, I've got to run the numbers. This sounds unbelievable to me. The Titans are close to the Bolts win streak from earlier this year.